Hello and welcome Rebecca Pickering who is the CEO of Civil Contractors Federation and the Executive Director of Civil Apprenticeships and Careers Limited. How are you and welcome?
I'm very well actually, Mel, and yeah, it is always a bit of a mouthful. Yeah, it's a long title and yeah, wearing a couple of hats. It's a bit complicated, but
absolutely, yeah. And you, a very busy woman by the sounds of things.
Yeah, it's crazy busy this time of year, and it'd be nice if the weather was a little bit kinder to our sector, but that's okay. Yeah, and obviously coming up to Christmas, so it's a busy time.
It's nuts. It's nuts for us all. So look, normally I would have a heap of questions to throw at you, but to our audience, Rebecca has an amazing story, and I am going to hand it over to Rebecca to tell us how you got to where you are right now, wearing these few hats, and also tell us about what you guys do, because you're very passionate about what you do, and you're doing some amazing things for our community. So I'm going to hand it over. Where did this all start for you?
Okay, well, I might flip it a little bit, Mel, if that's all right. I might start today, and then we can go back a little bit just to provide a little bit of context and perspective, I guess.
Works for me.
And not everyone understands what civil construction is. So civil construction is the builder of roads, bridges, tunnels, we're the earthworks operators. We build foundations to all of your social infrastructure, hospitals, schools, any superstructure that you can see. So we're really the first and primary trade that needs to exist for, I guess, our way of life, even going as far as utilities and pipeline and all those sorts of things. So not much happens in our day in life without the civil industry, basically. So there's two hats, as you referred to earlier. So I'm the CEO for CCFSA, which is the lobbying and advocacy arm for our sector. So basically that means I ensure that our state government and our policies and everything that we need politically and from a legislative perspective is occurring the right direction to support all the businesses that we have in our sector and our industry. I also, as a part of that business, run a registered training organisation. That's an equivalent to TAFE. It's called Civil Train, and we train all of our members in our industry. So whether it be, Mel, that you want to come and get your forklift license, or you want to drive an excavator, which I know you do because they're so fun. Haulers, tippers, rollers, everything we train in, even things like your qualifications. So we have apprenticeships, we have Cert 4s in site civil supervision. So there's lots of stuff on the training side too. That business operates here in South Australia, WA and NT. And on the other side of life for me here in the civil sector is that I also have that executive position for Civil Apprenticeships and Careers, which is an employer of apprentices in the civil space. So we only employ civil kids, and these kids have the opportunity to be in those careers like traffic management, road construction, pipeline, earthworks, civil construction general. There's a breadth of specialty that you can do as an apprentice in the civil sector. So we employ about 50 of those apprentices right now, and we do that because there's not enough consistency in our procurement cycle in infrastructure in South Australia. So it means basically small business can come to me and say, hey, Beck, got a project for 8 weeks. I've got an opportunity for an apprentice to come and join us. Can we have a short-term engagement? Yep, no problems. It means our kids are getting that experience and hopefully either going into running their own businesses in the civil sector or coming out as the absolutely amazing professionals that we need in order to continue to build what South Australia needs. So that's the two hats.
Just quickly, the apprenticeships is something that you actually created, isn't it?
Correct. So for us in our industry, we had it as a traineeship, and what we're finding as a sector and as an industry that no one really wanted to undertake a traineeship. It doesn't have the same level of,
trade.
Yeah, exactly. Qualifications, and out of respect, I'd suggest the trade qualification that it is. Yeah. So about 3 years ago, we lobbied, or 4 years ago, we lobbied with the state government at the time to acknowledge the then traineeship as an apprenticeship. So for as much as civil industry has been around for a very long time, the civil trade itself has only been around for coming up to 3 years now.
Wow.
So as a result, that means that we don't have federal funding to the degree that other traditional trades do. It means we've really had to hustle quite quickly to get the education department and system understand what that pathway looks like. So we do an enormous amount of time and energy into speaking with kids and families and career influencers about all the incredible jobs and careers and professions that we have to activate these kids. And it's really lovely now that we have a trade recognised qualification. Kids can complete. It's only 3 years, you know, and a lot of our kids are junior apprentices, so that means they're younger than 21.
Mm-hmm.
So most of these kids are coming out in their early 20s with a full trade qualification, and they can be earning 100 grand, you know, in a few short years after finishing their trade qualifications.
Wow.
It's absolutely amazing. And
it took me years to build to that number.
I know, right?
I was in the corporate world.
Exactly. I've always worked in commercial construction, and I did a bit of IT there for a little while. And yeah, I wasn't earning that money at that sort of age. And the other beautiful thing about our sector is that because our main client is government, it's a secure profession as well. So once you've got it, you're in. And with just in South Australia, there's $18.6 billion worth of infrastructure work coming in the next 4 years.
Wow.
Huge amounts of work. And I don't know about you, but everyone needs roads and water and taps and energy, and you can't do without the civil sector.
And something you mentioned earlier when we were chatting is that they're earning this kind of money, but they're not having to do the FIFO.
That's correct. So this is all metro work. So, you know, you can work as regionally as you like or locally as you like. There is civil works everywhere, and it's not going to stop. Even our current infrastructure that we've built, so a bridge or a tunnel, it needs to be maintained.
Correct.
And that's us. So, yeah, so there's so many jobs out there. We've got this amazing big project here in the location I'm in near Theberton. So we've got the Darlington to Torrens, hopefully tunnels, or that final sector of work that needs to be complete to join our north-south corridor. So we're really excited. That in itself is $10 billion, and it's a 10-year project.
Amazing.
So just absolutely incredible opportunity. So we do a lot of work with kids in all schools, whether it be private, Catholic, public schools. We love all kids, and we say, you know, you can be the Prime Minister, but just start with civil construction first.
Yeah, why not?
That's exactly right. So, you know, the world will open up for you.
Imagine if a Prime Minister came from civil work.
I know, right? Why not? And they can.
Absolutely.
That's the whole principle, and sort of just working towards a bit of my own backstory. But, you know, we meet so many kids still today that get looked at if they don't fit the school system, if they're not academically inclined, if they're not going to go to university, then a lot of kids and families get really disengaged and really disenchanted with, what am I going to do? You know, I feel a bit hopeless, and no one's looking at me like, you know, I'm valuable to the community. But when we rock into a school, it's like, oh my God, you know, give me all these kids and everyone, whether you want to be a doctor or you don't have a clue what you want to be, we can teach you anything, and we can provide you amazing opportunities to get out, start work, earn some really good money, and see where the world takes you.
Absolutely.
So you can still do your uni degree, you could start your own business, you could sort of do a pathway like I did where I was on site and then went into a business type stream. So the world really is just an amazing place to be. You've just got to make a start. So we do a lot of work with low socioeconomic areas, with a lot of kids that sometimes these kids are the first ones to hold a job in their family, you know, and it's just so amazing how to break those cycles and ensure these amazing human beings feel valued and that they're massive contributors to the community and what we need every day. So it's a big driver for at CCF. And
you're so passionate about it too.
Oh, 100%. And I guess by way of background, it's a great segue into my own backstory that I didn't come from much either. I didn't go into uni. I didn't really fit the school system when I was younger, so I just coasted through. It never really was my thing. So for me, when I finished year 12, I didn't know what to do. So I went and did a business diploma at TAFE, just to buy my time. Luckily for me, because I was growing up in an ex-housing trust home at the time and I wasn't in a nice suburb, so I knew I had to work and I wanted to get out, you know, sooner rather later. So I was holding a job down from about year 10, you know, on school holidays and in the background, and I'll do any job I could get my hands on. And lucky for me, when I was doing the, just finishing off my TAFE qualification, I landed a job with Western Mining in the late 90s. So I was, it was so cool. And I think my love of infrastructure just fell in from there. So I've been working all these years prior to that in sort of admin roles and all these different sectors, but infrastructure certainly had me sold.
Got you excited.
I know, right? So I spent a bit of time at Western Mining, made some really good money, was enough to save money and buy a house and sort of get out of home, and then it just took off from there. Then I worked for a couple of commercial construction companies here in South Australia, got into IT. So although I was in construction,
wow, what a jump!
I know, right? So I was still in what I love. So I was still in infrastructure, but then I was supporting all of our construction sites with their information technology and all their networking, and that was back in the day of dial-up modems, of all things.
Oh yes.
Oh,
I remember crawling under the
seriously,
tables in hotel rooms when I travelled to plug in my laptop so I could have internet.
Wiggle the cable and get the handshake to activate. Oh, and it was just so slow. So yeah, my life in the early 2000s was about Y2K. So I had to go out and patch all the computers so they were ready for the big non-event. Of Y2K, and yeah, setting up all our construction sites. I really loved that. That got me into risk management as well. So sort of then had IT nailed, and that was awesome. And then I thought, okay, what else? So then I got into risk management, more of the business and compliance. So a lot of safety. So I got into hardcore safety compliance, both federally and from a legislative perspective, quality, lots of things. And I think for me, and I say it to a lot of kids that I meet today, that I've always run a small business in the background. So although I've held these executive roles and these positions, I've always had a little bit of a side business. Even when I was 19, I had a little IT business.
Wow.
I'd go around and I'd fix people's computers and, the little printing issues. And yeah, it's just a little sole trader with a little ABN. That's how it started for me. I gave the IT bit aside once I had my children, and went into business consulting, helping small businesses be better businesses.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, and trades are awesome, and they love what they do, and technical experts are incredibly good at what they know, but just trying to run a business, it can be so much more complicated, and understanding legislation and how to run good, robust, resilient businesses can be quite difficult when you're in a business. So I was able to set up my own consultancy company, which I still run today. She's just not trading at the moment.
So while having children as well, and running your business and having your corporate career.
Yeah, that's it. So when my babies were really little, I was holding down a full-time job with a construction firm. I had my side hustle, so my consultancy is still running on the side. I think for me, being the primary financial responsibility for my family, it meant that I had to be always earning and trying to maximize my potential as best I could. So for me, that was always holding that executive position and having the freedom my own business provided for me. So it meant that I could always get in, and I love a good challenge, and I love to undertake project work. So I could go in, do a job, in an executive and be employed by someone, but also have the freedom to always do my own thing with my own company. So I've really enjoyed that opportunity. And I think for me now, being in this type of role, to be able to put small business in focus,
love it,
and really celebrate how amazing everyone is that actually runs a business, because I know how isolating it can be and how lonely and how draining it is when you're trying to just make everyday work. So I'm here in a big role that's very public, that can sing everyone's praises, and even doing work with the likes of the Small Business Minister here in South Australia, which is a new commission that's just been set up. It's a new ministerial portfolio, which is amazing, to make sure small business actually get what they need and can prosper and really be successful here in South Australia. So
love it.
Yeah, it's a super exciting time.
So tell me, what's been the key for you to make this all work? Because you've had a lot of plates spinning at the same time. What do you think has been the number one key for you that's kept it all together?
I think, and I know a lot of people say it, but it really is doing what you love.
Yeah.
I'm really lucky that I don't feel like I've got a job. I just get up every day and just do what I absolutely enjoy. And it really, and it I can't stress it enough, it doesn't feel like work for me, because it is something that I enjoy. The beauty of the role I have today, and even in my own business, is that I get to find the awesomeness in everyone, and I just get to help to explode that and bring it to life. So so for me, I don't know, every day is different, and that's probably been the reason for, I think, where I am today and those successes, and just, I don't know, because I just move and be where the awesomeness is, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even if it's not there and things do look a little bit like a challenge and it's not going to work and a bit of a scrappy underdog, I love that as well, because I love fixing things.
Oh, I love it. Love a challenge and love fixing things. So tell me, what's the biggest learning that you've had since being a business owner?
I think people, it's always about people. So, you know, you can work through any problem and every complication, and nothing is insurmountable. The sun will always come up tomorrow. But I think it's just trying to get people to find the confidence in themselves and trying to teach curiosity and problem solving and being okay with ambiguity or failure or, you know, those struggles.
Well, failure is not failure, is it? It's just another way of learning.
Opportunity. God,
yeah.
Best lessons, I think, from those little hiccups.
Yep.
Those little bits along the way.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
do very much more resilient. So when the next one comes, like, and I've got this, I know it feels really bad, but, or, you know, you're feeling a little bit desperate, but you know you've got it, and you can always focus back on the confidence that you have and the fact, I've done this before, and I've felt this awkwardness or, you know, this feeling, and you know you can push past it. So yeah, I don't know. I think you know, and running this business here today, trying to inspire that in the team, that, you know what, it's okay to make mistakes, and, you know, I'd much rather someone be brave and try something new than just keep doing what we've always done, and not getting any better for that, or not feeling alive for it. Like, I don't know, nothing more amazing than stretching and feeling a bit of hurt sometimes, because it makes you feel alive, and yeah, it makes it worthwhile. It makes those wins even sweeter, I think.
It's growth, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, not just for you personally, but your business, your team, everyone, your family. Like my kids, you know, they've grown up. I only had 10 days off to have each of them, and had to get back to work just by, unfortunately, how our family was working at the time. So yeah, they've grown up as amazing little human beings that can, you know, be quite self-sufficient. They've been in childcare and kindy and then school, OSH either side. So
same.
They have to survive on their own. Off you go, and, you know, love you, and I'm here for you, and, you know, and we're an amazing family unit, I think, because we can't take each other for granted, because we don't have huge amounts of time together. So when we are together, we really make it count.
Make the most of it.
And they've got really good work ethics, and so I think there's lots of good things that can come from a bit of a stretch and just riding with it, I think.
And lastly, my favorite question: if you could go back in time, what's one piece of advice that you would give yourself when you're first starting out in business?
I think be kind to yourself. I think we get so loaded up on ourselves, like, why can't I get this job, and why can't I do this, and why am I making more money, or so yeah, you really get quite down. And even today, like, you know, when things don't go your way, it's so easy to heap up on yourself, and I don't know, just be really quite brutal.
Oh, we're our biggest critic.
100%. And people are telling you you've got it, so try and listen more to great praise and accept it, and just don't be hard on yourself. Trust yourself.
Trust, very true, very true. Rebecca, thank you so much for your abundance and giving us your time today and sharing your story. You know, we'll share this with our community. I know that there's a lot of people that will get a lot out of hearing your story, but thank you for what you do. I absolutely love what you're doing for your industry, and you're really shaking it up and getting things moving, and it's great what you do for our youth, and they are our future.
100% every day. So we won't get anywhere without them as a community, or as South Australia. So absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mel.